Intellectual Property is proudly brought to you by Adams & Adams, rooted in 100 years of excellence in intellectual property law.
Thanks again for tuning in to the Intellectual Property Show here on Summit Television. I'm Stefan Lamprecht, and tonight we probe the role of intellectual property management in one of the most, if not the most, knowledge-intensive projects currently in South Africa. To help me do that, I'm joined in the studio by Dr. Adi Patterson, a key architect of our National System of Innovation and now Head of Business Development at the Pebblebed Modular Reactor. Welcome, Adi.
It's good to be here, Stefan.
Adi, you've been in the inner circle of probably most of the discussions in the last decade or so are about this issue of a knowledge economy and the National System of Innovation. How committed is government to really growing our own intellectual property base and working from that?
I think government has shown quite a few commitments. First of all, there's a clear policy framework that's going to enable more intellectual property to be created. Public funding of research has increased fairly significantly over the last few years. And a lot of that increase in public funding has been focused on innovation rather than old-style research and development. That's very positive. But I don't think we can be satisfied until we reach for example, a target of more patents secured by South Africans than secured by foreigners patenting in South Africa.
What is the situation currently?
At the moment, we're less than 25% of total patents in South Africa go to South Africans. Some of those are of low quality as well because we don't have a proper examination process. But I'm hoping that by stimulating a new interest in intellectual property and funding and resourcing it properly, we can change that.
And then, for example, you mentioned the issue of examination. How do you foresee that happening?
Well, I think in a country like South Africa, it would be possible to join with other countries, small countries that have got small examination offices and partner with them to develop a capability to examine patents in South Africa. I don't know of any country that wants to be serious in the knowledge economy that doesn't have some special arrangements or its own arrangements to examine patents properly.
And out of that would grow also other services for intellectual property management, not just patenting and the registration side, but also stimulating innovation, stimulating understanding of the system. Is that the way you see this happening?
I believe that if we're going to have a serious knowledge economy, there have to be many more people who are charged with the responsibility of thinking about knowledge, how it becomes valuable, and how it's used in an economy like ours. This is what I think Finland has done. South Korea has done it. We see India dramatically changing its policies and being very effective. We need to be part of that journey.
Now, if you think, for example, the current bill under discussion regarding intellectual property funded from public funds, what is your view towards the bill and its implementation?
Well, I think the bill is in its final phases now, and I think the challenge is to make sure that it is enabling in nature, that people who contribute to intellectual property feel that they're going to benefit from that downstream, that institutions are given great flexibility to utilize intellectual property, but the obligations people should have is to be responsible in declaring it and in making sure that when they do declare it, that it's properly utilized for everybody's benefit, or if there's specific commercial benefit, that's well defined.
And in your own experience in the current environment where you work, and we'll dig into that a little bit more now, but what is the role of the culture of innovation and the culture and support system of aspiring to patenting and so forth? What role does that play over and above the hard and fast rules that we have in terms of the regulations and the policies?
It's absolutely essential to recognize that knowledge workers have to feel creative, they have to feel that they're given space to be creative, and when they are creative, they want to be taken seriously as the people who've contributed to that knowledge. And so creating an environment in which people see intellectual property as valuable and something that is valuable to them in terms of their career development, in terms of their own goals and objectives, is absolutely essential. Scientists and engineers in this country have been trained to think of themselves as generally adding to public knowledge. And that's extremely unfortunate because one of the key functions of public research and the use of public money is in fact to create value in the economy as well. So we have to continuously work on creating this positive and enabling culture. It's got to be easy for people to patent. When they do patent, they need to be rewarded soon after they do that. And when big financial returns come, it doesn't come that often, we need to make sure that people are able to benefit from the knowledge that they created.
About being a scientist yourself, what is the role of recognition in that incentivizing process? Is it just a monetary thing, or is it also about giving recognition for the good ideas that have come forth?
I think we need to reinforce recognition at every stage, right from the idea formation stage, the possibility that an invention has been made, the securing of the patent. It's tough work putting a patent together, and so people need to be able to take them through that with the feeling that there is real recognition. It cannot just be an instructional process. And so I believe we still need to, in many of our institutions, create that positive culture. The Pebble Bed Modular Reactor Company has got about 700 people, 600 technical people. We have to ensure that those people feel that they're part of an inventive process, and when it's strategically important to secure that by patents, that they can fully participate in that in a positive way.
Okay. So you've implemented processes for patenting within the PBMR process. Tell us a little bit more. I mean, if I understand correctly, PBMR, it's a very knowledge-intensive environment, a lot of scientists, a lot of engineers. How do you manage that dynamic of know-how and extracting intellectual property from that know-how?
Yeah. Basically, to be successful in the nuclear business, you have to control certain core technologies.
Okay.
And it's a complicated thing to do because you also have to declare a lot of your intellectual property in order to demonstrate that your reactor is safe. And so the strategies for protection are quite complex because you don't want to spend lots of money protecting something that is part of your safety case.
Yeah.
You have to have something that is protectable over the long term. Now, we work very intensively to determine what that is, and part of that is kept as trade secrets, and part of that we patent as part of our marketing process to show that we command certain technologies in the Pebble Bed modular reactor space. And so we've currently got 11 patent families which we are developing, and they range right from fuel systems to reactor core systems and a number of other areas. And I'm hoping in the very near future we'll get into digital controls for nuclear, because that's a very hot area of patenting as well. So one has to have a strategy, you have to have focus areas, and don't spend scarce resources trying to secure control of intellectual property that is part of your safety case.
Yeah. And as a last comment, I mean, a lot of this doesn't extend only just to for example, patents and so forth, but some of your engineers going to a conference and giving a presentation and controlling that disclosure of information. How do you deal with that?
We've got very careful processes. Our Chief Technology Officer has to clear every talk that is given, and he's well aware of the issues of what needs to be secured or not secured. And then finally, of course, we use conferences as a way of marketing rather than disclosing.
Okay. Very good. Thank you very much, Dr. Adi Patterson, for joining us here today in Summit. That's all we had time for tonight. Until next time, from me, Stefan Lamprecht, good night.
Intellectual Property was proudly brought to you by Adams and Adams, rooted in 100 years of excellence in intellectual property law.